Money in Hypixel Skyblock is the main motivator. Essential and desired items cost money, meaning everybody that you see on the screen here at some point is definitely chasing the Skyblock bag. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of different ways to make money in Hypixel Skyblock. So today we're going to showcase some of the community's favourite money making methods. So hopefully you can follow suit, one of them will work for you, and you'll be able to afford those items that you've always wanted. So let's begin. Now the Crimson Isles is a great place to make money. There's lots of mobs that you can kill here whereby they'll drop items that you can't actually purchase any other way. You've basically got to grind for them yourself because they end up being co-op soulbound. Now these items are involved in a ton of different crafting recipes, which you can then sell on the AH. Now at night time in the Crimson Isles, just above like the Kudra Skull, you'll see these ghast spawning. Now of course these ghast will drop regular ghast drops, but they'll also drop tentacle meat, which is interesting but useful. So the easiest way to kill these ghast is just simply with the Hyperion, and you kind of just teleport around. It kind of can be a mana issue at times, and you could probably also do it with a Terminator or another bow. Anyway, if you have another sack, the tentacle meat will go straight into your sacks, and with that tentacle meat you can craft a ghast cloak. Along with the 10 tentacle meat, you'll also need 3 stacks of enchanted ghast tears, which you will accumulate by killing the ghasts, or alternatively you could just buy them from the bazaar. These ghast cloaks, when crafted, will come with a roll on them, and of course if you get a better roll you're going to be able to sell these for a lot more money than, you know, maybe the cheapest lowest bin. If you get really terrible rolls on it, you might lose a little bit of money if you were to actually buy the ghast tears from the bazaar. But if you were to roll a Veteran Vitality, that's 80 million coins. Mana Pool Mana Regen is 19 million coins. And there's plenty of other decent rolls as well that can be worth a little bit more than lowest bin. It's definitely not something that's new, considering there's a lot of other items that you can craft in the Netherlight, Gauntlet of Contagions and so on, whereby, well, number 1, they sell for a decent amount, and number 2, if you get a good roll, you'll be absolutely laughing. So I guess there is somewhat of an element of RNG involved in this money making method. However, with a bit of consistency, it's only a matter of time until you start getting those expensive rolls. So not a bad one to give a try at all. Now before we go any further, if you are planning on purchasing anything from the Hypixel store, make sure to use code Nitro so it gets yourself 5% off. Subscribe to the channel if you watch the videos and you haven't subscribed, please make sure to do so. You should join the Discord server, it's linked in the description of this video. We have Slayers and Dungeon carries, so if you need carries or want to carry and make some coins, make sure to join. Now while we're on the topic of carries, Enderman carries in specific can be a very profitable trade. When you go into end lobbies, you'll often see players advertising carries in the chat. While sometimes you might get a slightly better deal from them, it's a bit more of a risk. Now the best way to actually carry people in terms of Slayers and Dungeons and so on, but we're going to focus on Enderman Slayer because it is probably the most profitable in comparison to how easy it is to get into, is going to be to join a Discord server and go through their carry system, like my Discord server, which is linked in the description. I'm not saying that is the only server where you can carry, because it's definitely not. There's other servers like SBZ, or for Kudra carries, Kudra Gang. If we say that on average, give or take, the average carry for a tier 4 Enderman Slayer through a server, maybe 2 million coins per boss. Each boss is probably going to take you maybe 40 or 50 seconds to kill, and then you've got the time that it takes the person who you're carrying to spawn the boss. But there are a few conditions. Now first of all, most servers allow you to carry multiple bosses at once, so multiple people at once. This is obviously going to massively improve your rates. And at the same time, some players take way longer to spawn the bosses than other players, meaning that to a certain extent your efficiency is based on the person that you're carrying, meaning that if the person that you're carrying is a lower combat level with worse gear but they still want the carry, of course they still pay the same amount of money, but it's just going to be slower. Meaning that realistically, depending on a few factors, one of them being, well, how many carries you can actually get, whether you're carrying people in bulk or not. If you're not carrying people in bulk, then there's going to be slightly more downtime in between, you know, picking up another carry. You're probably going to be making somewhere between 30 and 60 million coins an hour if you're doing it for a full hour and consistently. Of course, you also have the chance of loot sharing a core. Wishful thinking, but it could happen. Okay, on to the next. Well, first of all, it kind of goes without saying how good of a money-making method mining really is. But it's not just the crystal hollows. And it also isn't just gemstones. In the Glaciite tunnels, there's actually a few more materials that you can mine, such as Glaciite, then you've got Tungsten on the right, and Umbra on the left. They're quite notoriously annoying to mine, because they take a relatively long amount of time to actually mine. They just have more hit points. And also, most people just focus in on mining gemstones. Now, mining gemstones like Peridot and Sapphire and Onyx and simply lobby hopping in between with a good mining setup is really good for money. It really is quite decent. You could comfortably make 20-30 million coins an hour. Honestly, that could probably quite easily go up to 40 million if you get lucky with the lobbies and you have really good gear. In comparison to regular Crystal Hall gemstone mining, there is quite a few downsides, considering, you know, it's not consistent, you have to lobby hop, it's more active, but it's still decent. It really is. Now, something that is actually hated and overlooked is Ashfang. Despite this being really, really annoying to kill, once you get the hang of it, it can be really, really good for money. Now, for those of you who don't know too much about Ashfang, to cut a long story short, it's a mini-boss in the Crimson Isles. It's been in the Crimson Isles since the Crimson Isles was released. It's not something that's new, it's just people don't like doing it because it's difficult, which it really is, it can be. Now, if we just start Ashfang, so we can actually see what happens. When Ashfang is provoked, he basically spawns 3 different types of blazes with kind of different coloured name tags above the heads. Those blazes with the blue name tags can only take damage from melee attacks, and those with the red name tags only take damage from non-melee attacks, such as, I guess, using a Terminator or Hyperion, bow or magical damage. Anyway, this isn't an Ashfang tutorial, I just want to show you how much money it can potentially make. Let's take a look at the loot pool and the percentages of the drops. So, it's guaranteed to give you a bit of combat XP, coins and XP. It's also going to give you 20 blaze rods 100% of the time, 1 lumino fiber 100% of the time, and then you've got potential to get a few more blaze rods, which is nothing crazy. You've also got 50-50 chance to get some enchanted blaze powder. You can of course get Kudra keys, both basic and hot, as you can with all the other mini bosses, the same with a magma urchin, and of course we see here a fire veil wand. The fire veil wand being a 1 in 200, having a 0.5% drop chance. Fire Veil Wand is 15 million coins, so you have a 1 in 200 chance of straight up dropping a Fire Veil Wand. What's very interesting is we drop 1 Lumino Fiber every single Ashfang, guaranteed. And if you have 10 Lumino Fiber, combine that with 10 Spell Powder and a stick, that gets us a Fire Veil Wand. So every 10 Ashfangs, you're guaranteed a Fire Veil Wand. And of course, this is per player. So if you're in a party of 5 people, all 5 people are going to be able to benefit from this. If you get a party together to do Ashfang, you can do it really, really quickly. Of course, you've got to wait for it to respawn. Now, you essentially need to do 10 Ashfangs to get a Fire Veil Wand, or unless you get really lucky and straight up drop one. So if you're able to do 30 Ashfangs per hour, that's a guaranteed 45 million coins. Even 20 Ashfangs an hour, and that's 30 million. And even if you only did 10, it's 15 million coins. That's provided that you don't hit the 1 in 200, which is going to give you an extra 15 million coins. You can see how this can make good money. It's no secret that Nucleus Runs is basically just glorified gambling in Hypixel Skyblock. I mean, the chances that you actually get a Divan's Alloy are very, very slim, to a point where it almost just is a non-existent chance. Or at least I like to tell myself that if I ever do Nucleus Runs, so I'm not disappointed when I don't get one. Of course, the main thing you're looking for when you do Nucleus Run is the Divan's Alloy. It is very, very rare. This figure that's actually on the wiki might not be 100% correct at the moment. However, what we can quite safely say is that basically the more time that goes by, the less rare it actually is to get an alloy. Every 3 Skyblock days or 1 IRL hour, the global drop chances are multiplied by 10, eventually settling. At the moment, Divan's Alloys are ridiculously expensive at 1.6 billion coins each. And also, in addition to all of this, we relatively recently got the new Mole Pet. Now, this is basically just a Nucleus Run pet. Let's take a look at the stats. It increases your chances of finding scavenge items in the Mines of Divan by up to 25% at level 100, which is nice. It basically means that the process of doing the Nucleus Runs is going to be quicker. Gain a 100% chance for Professor Robot to ask for 1 less part, so at level 100, you basically just get to skip on the most expensive part, which is cool. And you can also gain a 100% chance to receive an extra drop when completing the Nucleus Run, which is crazy. I mean, this is great. I mean, if you're someone who regularly does Nucleus Runs, this makes complete sense to use. It makes your Nucleus Runs quicker, and like it says at the bottom there, you also at level 100 have a guaranteed chance to get an extra drop, which in turn can be rolled into a Divan's Alloy. And of course, there's way more drops that you can get from Nucleus Runs, just none of them anywhere near as expensive as a Divan's Alloy, such as fragments, jade rolls, and so on. While it has the potential to be good, don't be fooled, this is not the reality. Well, at least for most people, you know. Now the next money making method takes us to the Rift, and we'll be farming for these things, wilted Burberries. If we get our hands on 20 of these wilted Burberries, we can craft them into wilted Burberries bunch. Now in the last day, the average sell price of these wilted Burberries bunch is 174k, or in the last week 267k. Seems like the time of day basically just dictates, well, I guess how much they sell for. I'm going to see how long it takes to get 20 and then see how much we could potentially make per hour. Okay, so it took us 40 seconds to go ahead and get 20. Now we can craft it. Assuming we can sell them for 100k. It says 2 sales a day. Well, that's just not correct, considering I can see that there's been way more sold, so I don't know what's going on there. Which means being able to sell them for 100k each means we could potentially make 9 million coins an hour. Now, we saw that the average sell price of the last day was 174k. That would bring our total up to around about 15.5 million coins per hour. So it might not be a main money making method, but if you're bored, it might be something to do to actually supplement your earnings. You know, it's not really much effort. Okay, next up, we have a money making method, also potentially a massive money losing method. Hypixel Skyblock claims that there's no element of gambling in the game, and sure, maybe that's true with real life money. Not with your coins though. There's multiple ways we can gamble. Let's just talk about them. Let's have a see if any of them are actually effective. So first of all, we'll take a look at rune crafting. I just want to clear something up. I did not copy Dusk. If anything, Dusk copied me. I've had this skin for a long time. 5-6 years, way before Hypixel Skyblock. So there we go. Second of all, we have the runic pedestal. What do we have here? Well, place a target item in the left slot and sacrifice a rune in the right slot to add the rune's effects to the item, or add 2 runes to attempt to fuse them. And of course, as the rune levels up from 1 maybe to 2, if we can find one. And then up to 3, you know, the prices increase. I just think if you're going to gamble, why runecraft? You're sure you could make a little bit of money from it, and you're sure you can lose money at the same time, but why don't we just get onto the main event? And the main event, the high-class dices. Now, high-class dice can be dropped from Blaze Slayer, and you can purchase one for around about 50 million coins. But how does it work? What do you get? A high-class Archfiend die. Ability, try your luck, right-click, it costs 6.6 million coins to roll between 1 and 6. In between -300 and +300 health for 24 hours. If you roll a 6, you earn 100 million coins, but lose the dice. So, say for instance, if you were to roll a 6 on the first try, you'd gain 50 million coins. You've paid 50 million for the dice, and then 100 million you'll gain if you get a 6. Now, for instance, if you roll this dice 10 times, meaning that you spent 50 million coins on the dice and 66 million coins on rolling it until you get a 6 and you'll gain 100 mil, you're going to lose money. You're going to lose 16 mil. In total, you've basically spent 116 mil on the dice, including the rolls, and 100 mil back. There we go. That being said, I've never really been lucky with dice, so I guess it's time to waste some money. Oh yeah, I realised we also need money to actually roll the dice as well. Yikes. Okay, well, I guess this is happening, isn't it? No. That's 6.6 mil down the drain. Oh dear. Okay. Not great. We've spent like 62 mil. Okay. Not great again. That's like 69 mil. Oh. Come on. I'm just cutting my losses and selling it. Yeah, so take from that what you like. There's of course other ways you can gamble in Hypixel Skyblock though. It's not just that. I mean, you could even argue that anything where there's an element of RNG is gambling. It is just luck at the end of the day. But even pet crafting is gambling in a sense. Say for instance if you were to craft a mushroom cow pet, okay? The same materials go in, you have a 20% chance of it being legendary and an 80% chance of it being epic. And that's that. It's straight up gambling. Moving on, a lot of these money making methods that I'm showcasing today, I basically just asked people in my Discord server for the favourite current money making methods, which is why some of them are a little bit wacky. However, somebody said buying booster cookies as the favourite money making method, which I guess it works, you know, if you have money. If we pan over to the government's website and take a look at the, well, minimum wage in the UK, number 1, yikes. Number 2, well, if you're over 21, you're earning almost £12 an hour. And then, of course, it goes down depending on your age. So let's be very optimistic here and assume that you're over 21 and earn minimum wage. £11.44, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, which takes us to £457.60 a week, or $584.84, which basically means we're able to buy 4.87 of the $120 Skyblock gems, which give us 13.5k gems per week, which is the equivalent of 65,794 Skyblock gems per week. Each booster cookie is 325 gems, meaning that we can buy around about 202 booster cookies per week. Booster cookies are really expensive at the moment, at around about 12 million coins each, which is the equivalent of 2.42 billion coins a week. Okay. Okay. It's doable. Actually, don't do this. This is... just play the game. But for some insane reason, if you are going to drop a week's wage on Skyblock gems, then use code Nitros. You're going to save yourself a bit of money there. But don't spend that much money on Skyblock. Anyway, next up we have Blaze Slayer. Always has been and always will be a great way to make money. But why? Compared to conventional Slayers, you kind of hit the jackpot in different ways, considering you don't really hit the jackpot because there's nothing that really sells for a huge amount of money. If you're doing Blaze Slayer, your most expensive drop might be something like a high class dice, as opposed to, you know, maybe if you did floor 7, you could get a Necron Sandal. If you do Enderman Slayer, you can get a core worth 300 mil, or if you do Revs, maybe a heart worth the best part of 200 mil. But Blaze Slayer is different, but in theory better for money. Of course, RNG dependent. We're going off averages. And the reason it's so good is, of course, you have a high class dice, which is 50 mil, which is a 0.2% drop chance, which is actually a pretty low chance. But you have a ton of other items that are going to make you consistent money, consistent profit on the bosses, that are pretty likely to actually happen. Like, there's a good chance that in addition to your Derelict Ash, you're going to get something else out of this sort of area here. If you look at the chances, they add up to probably close to 50%, maybe even more. So 50% of the time or so, you're going to be getting something decent that's going to supplement your money. Hence why I said it's different to other Slayers, whereby you'll be looking for one main drop, or potentially one main drop and then a couple of other drops that are going to gain you a little bit of money. You've got like I said, you've got a high class, which is 50 mil, which is relatively, rare to get. Other than just a plethora of other drops that are going to make you money, but not a massive amount, but they're going to be consistent because they're not that rare to drop. Now, Blaze Slayer can be relatively costly to actually get into in terms of barriers to entry. Having said that, the prices of daggers over the past year or so have dropped through the floor, meaning that even if you were to invest in 2 tier 3 daggers, you'd be paying a fraction of the price that you would have been previously. Blaze Slayer, when done consistently, can be crazy good for money. Now, a few updates back, we got the introduction of Fan and Taming 60. Fan will basically level your pet. It takes a while, but it's passive. You might have to pay a bit of money. But leveling pets has always been a great way to make money, and it still is. The misconception is that it's expensive to level pets because you have to buy an expensive pet to make it worth it. For instance, like a G-Drag. Lots of people who have a lot of money who want to make more money will level G-Drags when they're doing another activity that makes them money. G-Drags are very lucrative and are quite profitable. Not as much as they used to be, but still very, very profitable. But you don't have to buy a G-Drag to make pet leveling profitable. For instance, a legendary level 1 Ammonite is dirt cheap. Just over 1 million coins. Really, really, really cheap to buy. The cheapest level 100 is over 30 million, almost 32 million coins. So you're basically making a give or take a 30 million coin profit, leveling it from 1 all the way to 100. Now, the good thing about Ammonites is not only is there a good demand for them because it's a really good fishing pet, it's really, really, really easy and fast to level. You don't even need to fish to level this pet. When I was doing Heart of the Mountain 10, I leveled 4 Ammonites, and I wasn't even leveling pets for the whole time. That was just towards the end. I put a mine and XP boost on, and it went really quickly despite being a fishing pet. In other words, just level pets if you're not doing anything else. Now, I guess somewhat similar to Ashfang, another mini-boss that can make you a lot of money is Bell. And Bell's just basically a massive magma cube that you hit, and you basically have a chance to drop a Bell pet, either epic or legendary. Now, this chance is actually per hit, so it's not per kill, it's every time you hit Bell. Now, well, sure, this seems pretty unlikely, but you've got to remember that every time you kill Bell, that's 250 hits. There's many different ways you can kill Bell, and at first it can kind of be a bit tedious, but once you get it down to a T, you can really kill it pretty quickly. And if you get a good lobby, and luckily you won't have anyone disturbing you once you do it either. Now, I've personally not really had very good success with Bell in terms of dropping Bell pets. However, I know other people have, and that's why I'm going to mention it in this video. But I guess, once again, it is down to RNG. So maybe I just didn't have very good luck with it. Now, that's going to just about bring today's video to an end. Of course, there are tons and tons and tons more money-making methods. It'd be interesting to know what you're currently doing for money, so please do let me know in the comments if there's something that I've not mentioned in this video that you regularly do and makes you some good money. But anyway, that's all for today. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.